we're going to use this formula, okay? So it's the degrees times pi over 180 equals the radians. So here we're going to convert 165 degrees to radians, so it's super easy because we've got 165 times pi over 180 equals our radians. So that's like what we're looking for is the radians, which I think I'm actually going to erase this radians part because that's where our answer is going to be. You can also type it into the calculator. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty easy. So 165 divided by 180 is 11 over 12. All right. And that 11 over 12, it's going to end up looking like this. So it'll be like 11 pi over 12 is how you write that. So that's 11 pi over 12, and that's what you type into the calculator. Or that's what you type into delta. For this, convert 90 to radians. 90, you're going to use your little fraction bar. 90 over 360, that's 1 over 4, so it's just pi over 4 radians is what you type in a calculator. I mean, that's pretty much it. Did I type 160? Oh, I should have typed 180. It's pi over 2. There we go. Radians, thank you. With circles, I'm used to 360, but it's just pi over 180. So for this one, it's the same thing, but you are working backwards. So you pretty much just have to like invert the fraction, and it's basically like you multiply by 180 on both sides and then divide by pi on both sides, and you end up with degrees equals 180 over pi times radians. And that's how you convert radians to degrees. It's just you invert the fraction and you multiply by radians. All right, so what does that look like? 180 over pi times -4. But pretty much what ends up happening is you do 180 times -4, then you divide it by pi. This -4 is in the numerator. It's getting multiplied by that. So you can type all of that in the calculator at the same time if you want. And then it's going to, the thing that kind of throws people off is this just looks crazy. It's like -229.2, and a lot of times people are like, is that right? Like, that doesn't make sense. How is that right? That is the correct answer. It's -229.2 degrees. And I don't want to go into like huge detail on this because it can get confusing. But all I want to explain with this is like, how could it be negative? I'll show you. So if you start here on the unit circle and you're going this direction, it's in positive, starting 30, 45, 60, positive numbers. If you start at the unit circle here and you go this direction, so start at 360 and go backwards, then it's negative. That's how it works. And you will go more into detail the further you get into math. But that's kind of just the very introductory how it works. All right, so this one we have radians to degrees here. So degrees equal 180 pi times this 17 pi over 12. Okay, things that happen here and people get confused, what they want to do is like cross multiply this. Don't get crazy. We're not cross multiplying. There's no like equal sign in between this. You can just type all of this in the calculator. Another thing that happens here is the pi's do cancel out, so you can put them in the calculator or you can not put them in the calculator. You will get the same thing since they cancel out. So 180 times 17 pi over 12 pi is going to give you 255 degrees, but you would get the same thing if you canceled the pi's out and just did 180 times 17 over 12. You're going to get the same thing. So this gives you positive 255 degrees, and that's how you solve that. Okay, so now we're going to come down here. So have that, hopefully. We're going to come down here and look at this unit circle, and I'm going to explain how this works really quickly. So we are going to start at 0, and we are going to go counterclockwise along the edge. And I just want to kind of show you how these are broken up. So you have the horizontal line and the vertical line that break this up. It's 0 to 180 over here, because that makes sense. Like 180 degrees is semicircle. This is a 90-degree angle here. So from 0 to 90, that's 90. Adding another 90 degrees would be 270 to get this one down here. I need to zoom this out, but then it's kind of small. But this down here is 270. So 0, 90, 180, and 270. And if it helps, you can like highlight these just to see it better. It's not, you don't have to, but why not? And then we have these 45-degree angles here. And so what these are, it just goes halfway in between 90 and 0. So 0 to 45. This is the 45 degrees. 90 plus 45 degrees. I don't know what that is. So 135 is here. This is 225. And then 275 plus 45 is, no, not 275. 270 plus 45. Oh, goodness, I cannot type. Is 315. And then these other lines here just go at 30. So 30, 60, 90. 120, 150, 180. 210, so 180 plus 30. 270. 300. 330, 360. All right, and so these are all the important angles that are around the circle. And there's just, you're going to see these a lot. And as you move forward in math, so it's good to kind of have an understanding of what this is. And then we're just going to go through and we're going to convert all of these to radians. Okay, so 0 all the way to 2 pi. And then if you think about this, if you break this up, I mean, we already figured this out. This is pi over 2. But if the whole thing around is 2 pi, and we only go a quarter of the way, it would make sense that this is half of a pi. If you've got 2 pi's to split up, then if you go halfway, it's just going to be pi. If you go a quarter of the way, it's going to be pi over 2. And if you go 3/4 of the way, it would be 1.5 pi. So 3 pi over 2. So 45 divided by 180 is 1/4. And then, you know, our formula is to multiply it by pi. And then divide by 180. So it's pi over 4. And then same thing, but with 135. It's going to be 3 pi over 4. So it's really just like a pattern the entire time that follows this formula, but also breaks this circle down into quadrants. And then this one's 5 pi over 4. And then this, if I type this 315 in here, it's going to be 7 pi over 4. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to just fill in the rest of this. All right. So based on these degrees, go in and fill in the radians on all of this. And then we'll show it and we'll be done. So this is a unit circle. I'm actually going to zoom it in a little more because inside the circle is where we need to see. So 30 degrees is pi over 6, and then you can see the red ones we did together. Pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3 breaks this up. Alright, this is this first quadrant, and then we go to pi over 2. And then 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 6 over here, 7 pi over 6, 5 pi over 4, 4 pi over 3, and this is in quadrant 3. Quadrant 4 over here. Here are the radians. And so these just follow a pattern. If it goes this direction, if it goes starting here, and then we go all the way around to 360, that's what it is. If we're going backwards, it's going to be different. It's kind of a complicated system. But this is just really the very introductory part of this. Okay.